Well, I don't think it would be a video of mine if I wasn't recording it 3 times in a row. Well, I had issues with the video because it was in the wrong format, but hey, third time's a charm, right? And of course I'm not one to disappoint. I've got my Fantastic Four t-shirt on because Fantastic Four trailer came out a couple of weeks ago and I really wanted to talk about it. And my initial thoughts were all in that original video, but hey, let's do it one more time. Because if there's one thing for sure, man, I love the Fantastic Four. MILF. So, with the trailer, it opens in the Bax building, which design I can't say I greatly love. Like, it fits the retro future aesthetic, and that's one of the things that I love. Like, the aesthetic of it is really great. That's probably been said many times online so far, but it is a really good look to the film, and I hope that they continue that with the rest of it. However, I don't like that it's set in the 60s because I'm someone that thinks that a Fantastic Four can work in all decades. Like, the 60s are where they originated, absolutely. Their origins tied to the space race and the fears of the time, and the Cold War. But the thing is that Fantastic Four can work in any time frame, just like the rest of the Marvel Universe. That's why they've got the sliding timeline. That's why the other characters that have been adapted, work in that time. And my worry with the film is that it would become another case of a character, or characters in this case, being out of time and trying to catch up to the modern day and trying to figure out where they fit in the modern world. I also have a feeling that because of Secret Wars, that may not be the case, but I'm getting off track. The Baxter Building has been shown to be different in many different things, from cartoons and games, and the 2005 film had it more looking like a hotel as well. But yeah, this film has it very sharp and sleek and pointy, and it's not a bad design, but it just isn't quite the Baxter Building. What I do love though is the family dynamic that we have in the film of Reed, Sue and Ben. We haven't seen quite how Johnny fits into that family dinner bit yet, although the announcement video where they first showed the costume, had Johnny there. That seems like the Fantastic Four to me. Ben's voice, however, isn't great. I prefer it if Eben gave Ben more of a gruff and gravelly kind of voice, which sounds more like a traditional Ben Grimm. That's not to say that his Ben Grimm will be bad. We can't know quite what he'll bring to the table yet, but I think that he will do a good job. I'm still looking forward to his portrayal of Ben Grimm, but it just isn't quite what I had in mind. I mean, the Marvel Rivals game just had a trailer for the thing, and that sounds more like a Ben Grimm to me. And he's also he's cooking with Herbie. Reed's facial hair, not too big of a fan of that, but Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, he's a great actor, and I really think that he could do a good Reed. The way that Pedro Pascal looks in Wonder Woman 1984 as Maxwell Lord, I think if they gave him grey temples with that kind of design, that would be a more ideal Reed Richards to me. He just kind of looks like Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards rather than just Reed Richards, which is unfortunate because I think the rest of them really do fit into the characters so far. That's more just a personal nitpick though. A lot of these are nitpicks. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm is like straight off the page. That's just amazing. From her narration of the trailer, it really seems like she could be the anchor point, which is rumoured that she could be the main protagonist of this film, which I think would be great because Sue Storm in the comics, especially in the 60s, was really underdeveloped. She eventually became the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four, but that wasn't for a long while, so I think giving her the main perspective of the film would be a really good idea. Eben Moss-Bachrach really does get the emotion of the thing. You see that especially when he's getting mournful at the window looking at his human body, and that is the thing. In that trench coat, that's just ripped straight out the page, that's brilliant. What isn't straight out of the page is, as much as people are saying that the thing is comic accurate, he's Jack Kirby in design, but him wearing the jumper really isn't the thing, because there have been iterations of the thing where he does wear a full costume, such as the Ultimate Universe, and even in the 90s where he wore a mask and a tank top. And even Future Foundation, there have been instances where the thing wears a full costume, but it never feels quite right for him to be battling in a full gear to me. He's always, he's an underpants kind of guy. This is the thing, okay? That's a thing design. Some people are speculating that maybe near the end of the film he might rip off his top, which would be straight out of the 3rd issue of Fantastic Four, where they all get their costumes. Because initially he did have a full top, but it doesn't look quite right, and then he becomes the iconic design. And I'm hoping that might happen, because Ben Grimm in a jumper just doesn't fit quite right for me. Bashful Benjamin's bountiful boulders should not be hidden away. Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm is just great. Like, he looks like a 60s Johnny Storm, and I can just see him being a bit goofy, trying to be a cool guy, but he's still a nerd. You know, that's Johnny. That's Johnny Storm. That's why I love him. He's the best character in comics. That shot of him in going up into the atmosphere reminds me of Marvel 2-in-1, where Johnny's testing his powers. I'm sure it will probably be a different case in the film. It's just so cool. Like, this is one of my favourite recent comic panels, even though this is about 7 years old at this point. But yeah, it's... oh, that put a smile on my face again. Like, that's why I love the Fantastic Four. It's just such great imagery. The showcase of their powers is amazing. Like, we didn't see Reed, unfortunately, but Sue's powers look great. The bits of Ben running look amazing, and of course the Human Torch flaming on. That brought a smile to my face. Like, I couldn't help but smile. Like, there is a lot of cynicism I have towards the MCU. I haven't enjoyed the MCU since Civil War. That's not to say there haven't been good films. I enjoyed Black Panther, I enjoyed Captain Marvel, but again, that's a character that's not set in the past, that they decided to set in the past. That controversially, I thought that Infinity War and Endgame were just okay films. I was really uninvested in the MCU at that point. And so when they came out, I just didn't really care. I haven't really watched them since they released. I've got them on DVD, I've got them on Blu-ray, but I just haven't watched them since. The reason being is that because in 2018, Marvel decided to cancel the Fantastic Four's comic, and their treatment in the comics was all because of their film rights with Fox. So that frustration of me not being able to read my favourite team in the comics, and it being pretended like it was nothing and just kind of scraped under the surface, made me very cynical towards all the business practices that go on at Marvel, and especially the MCU and film rights being the main reason why all this was happening to the characters. So I just became really disengaged with Marvel content outside of comics. I've always been interested in comics though, as you can probably tell. The shot of Galactus in the trailer is really cool, and to see that they're doing Galactus properly. John Malkovich in the trailer is most likely going to be Red Ghost. The other thing with Red Ghost is that he's got his super apes. So are we going to have an ape that can shapeshift, one that has super strength and one that has magnetic abilities? I guess we'll have to see. The choice of Silver Surfer is a strange one, of casting a female Silver Surfer. I'm not too big a fan of that, but at the same time it's Charlabelle and not Norrin Radd. So it could just be, again, because they're from another universe, which it shouldn't be the case. The music used in the trailer is absolutely brilliant. Like, I think that fits the Fantastic Four so well, and that's one of the highlights of the trailer, honestly. The Fantastic Car, again, I'm not really a fan of, because the Fantastic Car is meant to be a floating bathtub or a ship with 4 compartments, as it is later on. Making it an actual car is just a bit basic, and it doesn't really resemble the Fantastic Car. Those kids that are wearing the Thing masks near the end of the trailer seems to be an Easter egg to the actual Halloween costumes that were produced in the 1960s for Marvel characters that were kind of cheap and kind of didn't really resemble the characters and had a big plastered logo on the front. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also in the posters themselves that they released with the trailer, there's a little girl holding a Ben Grimm toy that is actually a Marvel Select thing. That's an actual toy you can buy, and they just put a t-shirt over it, which I thought was kind of cool. But also, the costumes, I'm not too big on. Like, I've already mentioned about Ben Grimm, but I wish that they all had a uniform look rather than Reed not having the collar bit. I wish they all kind of fit, because it's... I get it can be kind of cool to have them individual in a way, I suppose, and that's a very MCU-ified thing. Like, Johnny in the past has had a red and yellow costume, which I really like, and the rest of them still wore blue. Compared to other characters that have a very military look to them, like Ant-Man or Falcon, they seem to have gotten away with it, but it still does have a lot of lines which I'm not overly fond of. We could do without them, but I still, I like the overall design. I wish the gloves were pure white or pure black. If the gloves were black, then I want the uniform to be blue and black. I really do like the Negative Zone costumes. It's an interesting choice to go for that for their 60s look. We didn't get them until much later on, but overall it's okay. I just kind of wish that they had a uniform feel. I like the bagginess of it, because that is very much like the 60s costumes were very baggy. Potential spoilers, I can see them maybe at the end of Secret Wars, folding the Fantastic Four into the Marvel Universe, similar to how they did Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe into the main comics line. And I could see the Fantastic Four, them being at the top of this new world, being in the modern day, and all that stuff. Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom is a huge disappointment to me, because he shouldn't be playing the character. Iron Man and Doctor Doom are completely unrelated, and even if they try to play that off this way in the film, inevitably some of the characters are going to be wondering why he looks like Tony Stark, and that's the whole reason why they've done this stunt casting. Doctor Doom should be played by a Romani actor, because that heritage is so important to the character. He is a ruler of Latveria and wants to take over the world, but he looks after his people, he cares for them. The thing that makes him a villain is his ego. He's too blinded by his own greatness. He can never admit that Reed Richards is smarter than him, even though Reed Richards is the smartest man in the Marvel Universe. Moon Girl is the smartest person. But that dynamic of Reed and Doom won't be able to be fleshed out in time for the Secret Wars film, which is the basis of the whole comic that came out in 2015. It's such a stupid choice to pick Robert Downey Jr. And that's another reason why I kind of want this film to be really great, and then I'm tuning out the MCU. Because I'll be aware of what's happening, but I'm not going to be rushing to the cinemas to see Avengers Doomsday, because even if Robert Downey Jr. is just a one-off Doctor Doom for these two films, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, it's still going to, in the public eye, make Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom, which he shouldn't be. And, you know, even if they recast Doctor Doom, I'd watch the other Fantastic Four films, but I'm tuning out for these Avengers films. So that's my thoughts on the Fantastic Four trailer, and overall it is just great that people are talking about Fantastic Four again, whether it's about the movie, the comics especially, or even Marvel Rivals. Like, it's just nice that they're having their chance in the spotlight, and long may it continue. Also, just to quickly rant about Deadpool and Wolverine for a bit, I saw that film, and I really enjoyed it, and I never thought I'd see Chris Evans as a Human Torch again. Like, the reason why he became my favourite character initially. Is he the perfect Johnny Storm? No, he just kind of plays more on the cool guy, kind of playboy angle, which isn't... Johnny Storm is a much more complex character than that. But it was amazing to see him again, and seeing him older and like taking authority in that small moment, that felt like, even though it was a fake out to make the general audience think it was Captain America, I knew it was a Human Torch. And it was so great to see him again. But then the treatment that they gave him, unlike Gambit and unlike Elektra, who herself was in a bad movie, is a shame, because I was disappointed that he got killed off, but I wasn't initially annoyed. But the more like people really want Channing Tatum to come back as Gambit, and he was good in the film, but why was Johnny Storm given the short end of the stick? And that sweary bit at the end, that's not very Johnny Storm like. He wouldn't go on a sweary rant like that. But that's also because to differentiate him from Chris Evans as Captain America, and I understand that. But yeah, I wish that Johnny Storm was treated better in Deadpool and Wolverine. But it was amazing to see Chris Evans back again. And even like the four in the middle, you know, you can't beat it.